Cancel culture, of course, has been a big topic of discussion, and ever so often it doesn't actually work out in the way people plan. Alexi McCammond, the newly named editor-in-chief for Teen Vogue, is getting a lot of backlash from the magazine staffers after her deleted tweets from 10 years ago came back up for discussion. Now, these are tweets that she apologized for 2 years ago, and it's also important to note that at the time that she put these tweets out, she was a very, very mature 17 years old. So let me give you the details. The source of these staffers' concerns involve her relative lack of experience compared to some current staffers, as well as some deleted tweets from 2011 when Alexi McCammond was 17 or 18 years old and in college, where McCammond mocked Asians and casually used gay and I'm afraid to even say this word because I feel like if I do say it, it's gonna come back to haunt me, but gay and homo insults, okay? So I'm gonna give you a few examples of the tweets that got her in trouble. And again, these have been deleted. She had already addressed these 2 years ago. She apologized. She apologized again after the staffers, put out a letter about their concerns. She had previously written, "Why is this newsworthy? It's not." And she was referring to a Chicago Tribune story about Major League Baseball umpire Dale Scott revealing that he's gay. Now, this is in 2011, and at that point in our nation's history, I think it was still news. But I remember at one point, every time someone was reported as being gay, I was just like, can we normalize this already? Like, let's stop treating it as if it's like this odd, rare thing that we need to like publicize and make a big deal about. They're gay, awesome, great, right? So I remember having similar commentary. I personally do not find that comment offensive. Here's another one. I thought you were, she's quoting someone here. "I thought you were a Lakers fan, you bandwagoning homo." And Robert Swanson, I'm guessing from Parks and Rec? Or no, Ron Swanson, that's someone else. My bad, ignore that. No, this is an actual person.
Yeah, Robert Swanson. This is why you gotta love live TV, Anna.
Right? Brett looks horrified. And then here's another example, responding to like, they went into her responses to find this. Ha ha ha, you're so gay, LMAO. That was one other thing. So she got in trouble for this, okay? And there were calls for her to get fired. Luckily, Condé Nast was like, nah, we're not gonna fire her. I think that's the right response. But I just think this whole story is crazy. I don't know, what do you think?
It's so many things that bother me about this. The first thing that I want people to understand is stop advocating for people to get fired. When you create an atmosphere where the bosses can fire you for anything, just because it's something that you may like now, or your little freaking feelings may be like, I ain't wanna see this person lose their job right now. You may like it right now, but you're setting up a precedent so that one day the bosses, they can come up with some stuff that they could decide. And you're not gonna like it so much. You just, like this idea that people should lose their jobs. I'm somebody of the mindset that it should take something extremely egregious for somebody to lose their livelihood, lose their way to pay their rent, to feed themselves, to put food on the table. It should be something very, very horrible. That's a one. Two, again, not only was it the age of the person, because I think it's twofold with the Twitter thing and social media stuff. One, it's twofold. The age should matter. 17 years old, it's like, we gotta cut 17-year-olds some freaking slack at this point, specifically 10, 11 years after the fact. And two, the medium. In 2011, people were using Twitter not as if it was this permanent record that could, at any point in your freaking life, no matter how much you've evolved or learned or anything like that, and be used against you to sort of desecrate your character. Nobody was using it that way in 2011. People were kind of just using it as a personal diary. Like, we were barely posting our meals at brunch back in 2011, okay? Like, this whole sort of self-conscious way that we market ourselves, or we glamorize our lives, and we only show our most perfect versions of ourselves on social, is a fairly new phenomenon, and people weren't doing that back in 2011. Yes, the things she said were messed up or problematic, or whatever one of these freaking liberal buzzwords you want to use, but does it rise to the level of losing your job? That is insane. And lastly, and I think the main problem with this line of thinking of making Twitter so important is that people foolishly and stupidly delude themselves into thinking they can actually get things done via Twitter. Like, conversely, they think like Twitter's so big, we can change the world with this. No, you can just get freaking people fired. That's it. That's it. You're not actually adding any benefit to nobody's lives via Twitter. It's just, it's so freaking tiring, man.
Right, and we're also in this pretty awful no-win situation where, as workers, you're encouraged to provide free labor for these platforms like Twitter. Like, think about how they make money. They make money off of selling your data. Like, that's the whole business model. Same with Facebook. And so you're not only encouraged, it's mandatory, especially if you're out there looking for a job, to have a presence on social media that's impressive. You have to have a good following. That's where you show how talented you are, how skilled you are. I mean, you're forced to engage in constant daily marketing, right? In order to be able to work, to be in any way attractive to employers. And then if you happen to tweet in a way that's in that moment in time acceptable, right? In that moment in time acceptable, and then the standards change 10 years later, well, then those tweets that you were pressured to put out there in many cases come back to haunt you. Like, that stuff happens all the time. And it's so incredibly, like, if it were up to me, no Twitter, like no Twitter, it's gone, it's banned, it's over, right? Because it's created, and I'm gonna say something that these Teen Vogue staffers might not like, but I don't care. They're not actually offended by her comments from 10, ridiculous. 11 years ago. They're not, they're jealous, because the first thing that they mention is that, but we have more, she doesn't have as much experience. Sounds like you want her job. Sounds like you're super salty about the fact that she was named editor-in-chief. And then you guys went out there like little wannabe detectives to find or dig up any dirt you could find, and then make a big deal about it and try to get her fired. That's disgusting behavior. And to be quite honest with you, I would love to do some opposition research on them. What have you guys tweeted in 2011? Because we've all tweeted things and we've all said things that are not representative of who we are today. And the way that we treat people today honestly serves as a disincentive to evolve. Right? Yeah. Because if you do evolve, if you are a better person, that doesn't count for anything. Because you said something really bad or stupid when you were a 17-year-old in college, and it happens to be on Twitter. So that's it. You're marked for life, scarlet letter. You're the worst person in the world. You don't deserve to be able to provide for yourself and your family. It's just stupid. It's stupid.
Please don't audit my tweets from 2010, guys. It wasn't a pretty sight. Don't do it. No, but seriously, and I think part of why I'm annoyed by a lot of this discourse from younger people about microaggressions and all this other made up crap is that I'm Black. And so, like, I say that in the sense that I've been followed in stores. I've seen women clutch their purse. I've seen people cross the street. I've heard people say, that black people have an extra calf muscle in their leg, and so that's why we're always killing people in track and field and basketball. I've experienced so many of these things that certain people would have you believe should have me on a fainting couch, that I shouldn't be able to get out of bed every day. And and there are people, black people who I know, who have experienced similar things. And not to say that we shouldn't get people to stop doing that, but this idea that it rises to the level of assault or trauma or PTSD or any of this crap is nonsense. It's ridiculous. And if anybody read what she tweeted and really feels like this is the end of the world, then I'm sorry, man. You're not built for this world. I'm sorry, that's a get off my lawn take, but I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Condé Nast is going to stand by her. They write in a statement that McCammond was appointed editor-in-chief because of the values, inclusivity and depth that she has deployed throughout her journalism and also throughout her career. She's dedicated herself to being blah, blah, blah. You guys get the point. They don't even need to put all that out there. They're standing by her. I think that's the right thing to do. If we're gonna demonize and brutalize each other over what we did or said when we were in college, I just think that this country is in for a lot more pain than it needs to be. So I'm glad that Condé Nast made the decision that they did.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.